Hey guys, I'm Game Advisor and welcome back to another Icarus update video. Today we're going to be going over the Icarus week 46 update, which is going to be about the armor durability balance changes and an open world Q&A as well as an additional mission. So let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. Now, the first thing we want to talk about is going to be the armor durability changes. I could go ahead and sit here and read all of this out for you, but basically what you need to know is they've cut armor durability by about 50%. Don't worry though, as this is to accommodate for their new change. The way this new change will work is if say you take 100 damage from an enemy and the armor absorbs 50 of that damage, the armor will now take 50 durability damage. They also explain that if the armor were to only absorb 25 of that 100 damage, it would only take 25 damage, and the rest of that damage would then be applied to your character. So now you will only lose durability based on the amount of damage absorbed in order to compensate for the reduced total overall durability value. They also go on to explain that if the damage is not resisted at all by the armor you're wearing, then it will not cause any durability damage. This is great for some of the earlier armors, which won't provide a lot of resistance in the first place, so it will go ahead and make them last longer. The whole idea behind this change is that they're trying to make it so that players have to actually consider which type of armor they're bringing in. Do they take in something with high durability that can absorb a lot of damage, or do they take something in that's easy to make and has a lot of really good perks but maybe has really low durability? Again, I don't know the exact situation. These are just some of the scenarios they seem to be trying to address. Following that, they've gone ahead and updated the game for basically just some quality of life features. If you didn't know, by the way, they do have their own special little place you can go to actually do a feature upvote, which is right here. So you guys can click on that if you want to see it yourself. And basically it just allows you to say, hey, I want to see this changed. And if other people want that, it'll start to get upvoted, which will result in hopefully it getting changed soon. Some of these changes they've made are things like crafting on tables will now pause when your inventory's full. This is great as you won't have a million tree sap popping out. They've also made it so that when you have a debuff that reduces your maximum stamina, you are no longer prevented from jumping. This is really useful for people who were in ice caves or just anywhere out in the world and needed to jump out of a little hole they were stuck in, but they couldn't simply because they had no stamina because they were stuck in a cave. So this is going to be really nice for those people. They've also made it so the UI can now be hidden in photo mode, as well as fixed a couple of other issues preventing progress on some other missions. The idea here is that these are all quality of life things, and these are all things that were upvoted to be changed by the community, and the community wanted to see them change, so the devs decided they would go ahead and do them. Again, these aren't necessarily huge changes, but they are things people have been asking for, and it's nice to see the devs actually trying to update things that the community are asking to be changed. Following that, we have a new mission, which is called Spelunking Assisted Stockpile. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I've already done this mission, and it is really easy. Basically, you're going to run in, get some mining tools, gather a little bit of each ore near some caves nearby, put it in a drop pod, and you're done. It is basically just there to explain to new players how you are supposed to actually look for ore and what ore would look like. This is a very early on mission. I do wish that the devs would have made it even earlier on, or just make it part of the base forced to do mission line so that people will actually see it and understand what they're looking at. Again, this is off on a little branch, and rather than doing that, they could have just made it part of the main line. That way players who are new to the game are taught what to do rather than just being stuck in this limbo land where they have all these different missions to choose from that are supposed to teach them things, but they don't actually have to do them. So they may proceed on and then get in a situation where they have no clue what to do and quit because they didn't realize there were tutorial missions farther in the back. I think a great solution to this could also just be simply labeling it as a tutorial mission. That way players know, hey, if I want to learn something about the game, I should play this mission. Next up is the open world Q&A section. Now, this basically just explains to players what the new open world mode is, and it's exactly what I thought it was. This is basically the exact same thing we have now on the Outpost mission, where it is just all of the map, except now you have to drop in and out of it and world bosses spawn. That's about it. They've also explained that your old outposts on those maps will become open world game modes. The other downside to this is the fact that you can no longer get resources to respawn within that world. That means you're going to have a finite amount, unlike an outpost which has respawning ores and minerals every single time you reload the map. Gonna be honest with you guys, I don't like this change. I understand that they're trying to make it set up so it's in a certain way for some future plans they have, but at the current point in time, it just seems like they're making outposts kind of worse. I don't want to have to go back to a super tiny map and play on that for my outpost, or play on a map with no regenerating resources. I do think they could just keep them separate and have an outpost of the whole map as well, with none of the bosses, and then have a open world mode when it's actually time to implement an open world mode, so that it will implement with the other systems that they're planning in the future. Again, I don't really like this because I don't want to not have regenerating resources, and that's really the only problem I have with it. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys like this change, so let me know in the comments down below. And to be honest with you guys, that's pretty much all there is to talk about. They go in depth on some of the open world mechanics, so if you want to check that out, do feel free to go read it. The changelog is basically just everything I've already told you, and there's some extra updates that are for little bug fixes, as well as some extra updates for what is going to be coming in the future. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Icarus and other survival game content. And I want to give a big shout out to our Platinum and Above members, which include Jonathan S., Caustic FPV, and Jim Phillips. I'm Game Advisor, and I'll see you next time.